Good evening and welcome to the One Hub Racing Season 19. Round 6 of the championship takes us to the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, close to Stavelot in the country of Belgium. We've got 18 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 22-lap race in the prospect tier. And the drivers are set to go on this magnificent racetrack. I've seen so many glorious events, whether it's in Formula 1 or in sports cars, or whatever championship, it is definitely a fan's favourite. I'm Tom Cairns from the Country Box, and I'll be the sole commentator this evening, as Erin Wyatt, who would normally be with me, isn't around for tonight. But not to worry, I'll still keep you up to date with all the details as the session goes on. We currently have 16 drivers in the lobby. We're about 5 minutes away from beginning the session, so I'll just take a quick mention on the sponsors and partners of One Hub Racing. Next Level Racing, who sponsor One Hub Racing by providing an NLR Direct Drive stand to the Driver of the Season award. 3M Sim Racing, who sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver of the most combined pole positions and fastest laps. And our partners, beginning with Vespertine, who partner One Hub Racing to support the championship prizes, and ERT, who partner OHR with the Going Gets Tough award. So, in terms of the championship standings, it's Fozziber who's out in front, who won last time out in Singapore last week. Jason did win on the road, but a time penalty had cost him the race victory to his teammates. And with that, that allows Fozziber to open up what is now a 19-point lead over his nearest rival. Fozziber has 84 points, Jason has 65, and then Josh Wilkins, who is the highest race premium driver in the prospect tier, he didn't score because he crashed out during that one, his first non-finish of the season. He remains on 59 points. Alex Elliott, his Alfa Romeo teammate, is in 4th on 43. So at the moment, it's 2 Ferraris in 1 and 2, and 2 Alfa Romeos in 3 and 4 in the standings overall. And with that, Ferrari lead by a long way in the constructors. They have 149 points to Alfa Romeo's 102. So with that, it is a 47-point gap. Now, in terms of the point system, how it works in One Hub Racing is that the top 12 score points. The winner gets 20, runner-up gets 17, and the third place driver gets 14, and right down to the 12th place driver who would get 1. Then there is also a point for the fastest lap for the driver within the top 10, and a point for the driver who finishes outside the top 10, getting a championship point. So even if you are not challenging for points, you could still scrape a point by simply setting the fastest lap of the race. So you do have a chance of at least coming away with something. In terms of the pre-race interviews, are the drivers looking forward to the challenge of Eau Rouge and Radion? And Josh Wilkins saying yes, he's most certainly looking forward to it. And looking at others who have answered in the media, I want to have a look to see if Fozziber or Jason have said that they are looking forward to it or not. Well, Jamie Metz saying it will be a good test. I couldn't agree more. Jess saying that she's looking forward to it. Belgian should be a lot of fun, but I am dreading Eau Rouge for sure. I am taking every lap as it comes. It is a tricky section, is Eau Rouge. We have seen a lot of drivers lose control through that particular part of the racetrack. I've seen in previous races, whether it's in One Hub Racing or in other leagues, we have seen a lot of drivers fall off the racetrack. So we've got 19 in at the moment, but I don't know if we are waiting for one more. But just carrying on with the interviews, or the pre-race interviews. And Smithy Chris, who is in the Alpha Tauri, and he said that strangely enough, Eau Rouge isn't a concern too much. In fact, I think it gives drivers a big chance for the overtake coming out the other end. Well, it's not that you need to completely overtake at Eau Rouge, it's getting a good exit from it and having the DRS to pull off a move on the camel straight before you get to Les Comps. And in terms of the rivalries, what are we expecting for in this one? Well, most certainly between Jess and Infamous. Now, the drivers have been battling with each other a lot of this season, but the pressure got to them last week with them being involved in an incident. Now, Jess was asked, with you getting your first penalty points in a while, how would you make sure you do not get in Infamous's way again? And Jess replied saying, it was just a one-off incident, I feel like. Before that incident, I was battling with him for the majority of the race and had a lot of fun. I was not expecting him to be there at that moment, so I panicked. Hopefully this will not happen again, and I will carry on fighting with him cleanly in the races to come. It's disappointing to walk away with some penalty points. I've avoided the stewards for a couple of seasons now, but fingers crossed that this is the last time I get those penalty points, and I learn to improve my racecraft in high-pressure situations. And Infamous, in terms of his response to the following question: did the pressure get to Jess's head on the Friday of last week, and how would she handle the pressure of Belgium, with it being a track where a lot of incidents happen? And at the moment, it seems that Infamous hasn't quite responded to that at the timing of this recording. So what to look out for? Well, in terms of the hot and cold, last week, Fozzie Bear was most certainly on fire. The championship leader picked a great race to win as his title rivals faltered somewhat and looks to be the champion-elect, almost there. In terms of the cold list, well, Indecisive Mackie was there. Again, crashed, and in a rare case of would have done better. If he misses a race, he's surely getting to that territory. It might restore his confidence, but until he finishes a race, he'll be stuck in the freezer. Mackie's yet to catch a break this season at the moment, and he could really do with a strong performance tonight. Now, if he keeps his car out of trouble and allows everyone to run their own race, he may just scrape a good haul of points out of this. So it's most certainly a night to get some form of redemption going for Mackie. In the driver's press conference, Stephen, who picked up more penalty points last week for his antics in Singapore, which means he's on a qualifying ban. He was asked, you've been utilising a very peculiar formation up tactic in recent weeks. What was the inspiration for this, and what will you do next to try and seek an advantage? And unfortunately, Stephen didn't get a chance to reply to that, but we hope we will do at some point. And now, in terms of the steward's briefing, well, in terms of what exactly happened in the prospect tiers, both an instance in prospect. So it was fairly quiet in the steward's office after the previous round. Singapore is often a magnet for chaos and destruction between drivers. It might be that drivers have calmed down after a nervous opening of the season, or they crashed on their own. Both incidents in prospect tier resulted in a penalty. Jess was awarded a 15-second time penalty for causing a collision by hitting the brakes in an unusual spot. Stephen is awarded a qualifying ban for driving ridiculously slow on the formation lap. So that's a warning out there to the other drivers in terms of taking too long to get to the grid on their formation lap there. So you've got to make sure they don't do that. And in terms of how many incidents there was that in the prospect here, there were just 2 incidents. I've mentioned both of them. Jess, who got the 15-second time penalty for the incident I've just mentioned. Infamous goes for a move on Jess after turn 3, but they make slight contact and just hit the brakes. TJ's behind Jess and hits the rear of the car as Jess hits the brakes unexpectedly. A 15-second time penalty on 1.5 penalty points would be added to Jess for causing the collision. So that was added to Jess's time in Singapore. And Stephen, as I've already mentioned, was given a penalty point, and which has resulted in a qualifying ban. Stephen was seen driving unnecessarily slowly around the track during the formation lap, delaying the race start by a significant amount of time. The stewards believe this is a violation of Rule 8 of the General Terms and Conditions. If drivers have issues during the formation lap that prevent them from keeping up with the rest of the grid, then they should pause the game and let the AI take over so this doesn't happen. A qualifying ban is issued to Stephen, which has to be served at the next round he attends. And of course, he is here tonight, I should think. Yes, he is. He's in there in the Williams. So we've got 19 drivers in tonight, which is good. I think that's probably the highest we've had for some time, maybe the highest of the season. But the countdown has begun to the start of qualifying. And whilst we're waiting, we'll just run down on the calendar. Round 6 is Spa. We've got 4 races to go after this one. Next week will be Silverstone. The week after, on the 22nd of October, will be the Red Bull Ring. And on the last Friday of October, which is on the 29th, will be in Austin. And the final round on the 5th of November will be at Imola, providing that circuit is released in time, which is expected to do so this month after the news of last month in terms of when Imola is going to be released. We are hoping it'll be next week. If not, it will be the week after. I can almost guarantee that. So we're just waiting for some cars to get out onto the racetrack. If you have just joined us, do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let you know who you are rooting for and what your predictions are. And so it's a wet qualifying at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, which means we're going to be seeing longer lap times. We're looking at around the 1 minute 51 range, possibly 1 minute 52, 53. But it's going to be a long out lap, flying lap, and an in lap. So it could well be up to around about 7 minutes or so from being in the pits, doing your out lap, getting your flying lap, doing your in lap, and then back in the garage again and getting another set of tyres on. So if I was all of those drivers, I'd get out there now and get a banker lap in. I don't know whether the track is going to dry out in this session. If I can be informed in terms of the weather forecast for this one, that would be very much appreciated. One of the McLarens has gone out onto the racetrack. Just want to see who that is. It may not be a McLaren, actually. It's one of the Hasses. It's Matthias, who's actually the only Haas driver involved. And behind him is Jason in the Ferrari. Both of them going through. Just a few other rules to mention as well. There is a mandatory pit stop rule of 2 pit stops for each driver during the race. Regardless of the conditions, every driver must make at least 2 pit stops in the Grand Prix. So it makes race strategy easier for the drivers. I imagine a lot of these would have been sorting out setups for the race. Now remember, they are under park firming rules once they do leave the garages. So Matthias will be looking to make most of the conditions and get his Haas up there. Now Matthias wasn't involved in Singapore last week for whatever reason, so he's back tonight. You can see that Demon has opted out of qualifying, so he's not going to be setting a lap time. So into the bus stop chicane Matthias comes. And he'll go over the line to start a lap, will he? Not if he continues having incidents like that. So we'll watch the Ferrari of Jason start a lap in the Ferrari. I haven't seen what he's like in wet conditions. So it's pretty much a limbo situation as to whether he'll have the pace or not. You can see the ASSETTO there nearly colliding with the Alfa Romeo that was coming out of the pits. Jason doing very well to keep his car pointing the right way. So Jason's lap time through sector 1 was a 32.5. And Chris behind him was a 32.8 for him. And Matthias, who's gone even quicker than that, is on a 34.5. And Jason focusing on what's in front of him. He's got a clear track ahead of him, so he needn't to worry about what's going ahead of him in terms of traffic. Now, a lot of drivers have seen their lap times being invalidated at the moment. Joa is one of them, Bazu is another. And at the moment, in terms of the fastest in Sector 2, that's at the moment Smith, who has gone through there, and that's even, I'd say it's beaten by Matthias, although it's not quicker than his. But here's Jason coming over the line for Ferrari, and it's going to be a 1 minute 55.7. Can anyone beat that? Smithy goes up to second with 156.1, so just 4/10 shy. Here's Josh Wilkins. We expect him to be in the running for pole position. He needs a really strong race here to remain in championship contention. In terms of who is going quick as well, there's one of the Red Bulls going over the line. I think that's Infamous has gone up to third with a 156.4. And there are some more drivers heading through. I think Jamie is one of them. But it could well be Ols as they go over the line. It is Jamie, 157.1, so not as quick as any of the top three. Or the top four even, because Wilkins goes up to third with a 156.4. Here's Ols in the McLaren. Finished on the podium last week from 13th on the grid as well. It's a very good result for him. Currently now 6th in the Drivers' Championship with that result. Let's bring into the bus stop chicane now. How close is he going to be to provisional pole? I think he's going to go fastest here. No, he's not. It's second, 156.0 for him. So really good effort so far. I think it's most important to just get a banker lap in for the drivers. There's Fossibert. So we can see what his first sector time is like. It's only a 32.6, which is not the fastest we've seen. It's over a 10th down from what his teammate had set. Jason goes quicker than before, 154.8, which is around about 8 tenths faster than what he had set before. 8 to 9 tenths. So Fossibert, the championship leader, podium finisher on this track last season in the Prospect tier when he was a Mercedes driver. And he's going through campus and heading towards Stavelot, and his time in sector 2 is a 51.7, and in comparison, comparing that to what Jason had set, is a long way off. He's nearly 6 tenths off in that sector alone to his teammates, so we're not expecting Fossibert to get close to Jason this late. He may get onto the front row next to him, but he's still going to be quite some way behind. He's coming through the last turn now, and he's going to go over the line, and it's a 155.6, and he does go to second. So decent lap there from Fossibert to put himself up into P2. There's Mackie, who will be making his way back into the pit lane. He's on his in lap. Now, who is on circle? Well, Wace is yet to get a lap on the board. Just about kept his car within the limits there. If he had not eased off the throttle, I think he would have had his lap time invalidated. Through sector 1, he has posted a 32.3, which is the fastest we've seen so far. So Wace in contention for pole at the moment, as he goes through Pouan and into Lafanya. There are 3 cars ahead of him. They're just going through Stavelot, so Wace should be okay in terms of track position. He won't want to be affected by the turbulent air of the cars ahead. Catches the curve there. So Weiss. So he's going. I think Infamous has improved to 7th on a 156.4, so it's a good effort from him. Weiss in the Mercedes. Enters the last turn. Where's this going to put him here? Won't put him fastest. He lost time in the second sector. It's a 155.3, but it's good enough to put him in P2. So Jason, so far, is the man to beat. Now Matthias in the Haas. He's on the Camel Straight. I'll come away from him in a moment. There's Joa, who posts a better time than before, 156.3, which puts him in P7. Alex Zilliard is looking to improve on his time from before, but it's not an improvement from him on the lap he's on now. One driver that is improving is Ols, nearly 3/10 up from before in Sector 1. 32.5 he had set. And what is he like through Sector 2? Now the fastest Sector 2 time is a 51.1 that Jason set. How does Ol compare to that? 51.6. In that sector alone, he's half a second away, so at the moment, he might just sneak onto the front row, but if not, he'll be behind Weiss in 3rd position. So it depends if he can find any time in the last sector. It's still raining at the moment, so we're not expecting drivers to be on the dry tyres before the session is over. So Ols in the McLaren, heading over the line, and he goes onto the front row. So he's nearly half a second off the pace, but he sneaks in front of Weiss by more than a couple of hundredths. Here's Jamie in the other McLaren, who has gone through Sector 2 with a 53.6. I think he's a long way off, actually, from what he was setting before. So it could be a recon lap, as Matthias goes up to P2 with his lap. Excellent job from the Haas driver. And the man who didn't compete in Singapore last week, he's on the front row for the time being. There's still plenty of time for everything to change. Here's Aiden, crashed out from his maiden race in Singapore. He's got a Mercedes behind him that is going into the pits, I would think. So Aiden over the line, and he's only good enough for 14th position. Now Smithy, who is in the Alpha Tauri, currently 8th fastest. He's setting personal best Sector 1 and 2. And now he's going to be over the line here, and it's going to be a 155.2, and it's good enough to put him in the top 3. So good luck there from Smithy. There's definitely more time to be found. There's Aiden, tiptoeing his way through. There's Wilkins on a better lap before. He's lost time in Sector 2, though, as Wilkins. So what's his time in Sector 2? Let's just have a look. He's currently 10th fastest at the moment. It's a 52.4 he had set, which is a long way off from what he had set before, which was it was a 52.2 he had set. But his Sector 2 time is nothing like what the Top Guns are setting. So the last corner now. Wilkins over the line, only 8th. Don't think he'll be too pleased with that one. Matthias on an improvement here. He just misses out on pole. But he set the best second sector time of anyone. And he's missed out on pole there by nearly 300ths. So it's looking very encouraging for Matthias at the moment. Jason is on a lap that's invalidated, so you may as well back out of that one. And there's Fozzie Bear in the wall. So the championship leader, losing it on the exit of La Source, has hit the wall at La Source. Has he got enough time to get back to the pits and get a set of intermediates on? I think he should do. As Aiden makes his way back into the pit lane. Now Matthias is nearly 2 cents up from before in Sector 1. So Matthias he posted a, I think it was a 32.6. Or was it? Yeah, it was a 32.5. So it was a personal best in sector 1. Not the fastest we've seen. The fastest first sector time is a 32.3. Let's see how Matthias gets on here in sector 2. Less than 4 minutes to go now in this qualifying session. Enough time for one last attempt for these drivers. Matthias exceeds track limits though. That's not what he needed, so he's going to have to go again or get back into the pits and get another set of intermediates on. Jason's next lap has been invalidated as well, so he's very much fighting it at the moment in terms of going for pole. Sure, Joa and Infamous are out on... Well, Infamous is out on slicks, which is premature, and which explains why he's clearly gone into the wall somewhere. So yes, the rain has actually stopped, but the track is not quite at the level for slick tyres yet. I can imagine some will wait about another 30 seconds before they make their move. There's still raindrops coming down, so I can't think that slicks are the tyres to be on right now. So Jason fastest with Matthias less than 300ths slower than him. Smithy ahead of Ols, Wace and then Fozzie Bear in 6th position. TJW is ahead of Wilkins in 8th, Jamie 9th and Joa in 10th place. Jason going for what probably will be his last attempt, but he's losing it out of the bus-stop chicane. That will cost him some speed down into La Source. He'll get the car so down in time though. What is he going to be like through Eau Rouge here? There's some other drivers on slicks as well. Jamie's one of them. So Jamie could be in the frame for pole here. Because whilst the track is continuing to dry out, and Jamie's in the wall. So Jamie's hit the wall at Eau Rouge, and he will not be setting a faster lap time. Fozzie Bear's out of the session as well. He's not setting a lap time. Aiden also out there. He's gone for a spin. So clearly not the time to be on slicks. Plenty of drivers are opting out of here. So I think Jason may well be breathing a huge sigh of relief here. Although Smithy will be fancying his chances of going for pole, but the track is continuing to dry. There's a bit of spray being kicked up there on the AlphaTauri's onboard view. Joe is on his flying lap. Probably his last one, but we'll see. Are we going to see an improvement from him? Indecisive has crashed out on track as well, so drivers struggling to find grip on this track. What's Joe's time like? Well, it's his personal best in sector 1, 32.9. Sector 2 is an he's invalidated lap time, he's exceeded track limits. So Alex now has just started a flying lap in the Alfa Romeo. Wace has started a flying lap in the Mercedes. Smith has started a flying lap in the AlphaTauri. Let's see how Wace gets on here. He's nearly 3/10 down from his personal best in sector 1, so perhaps the grip isn't there. Smithy is improving though in the AlphaTauri. It could well be last driver over the line, you know. Depends how much grip is found on these intermediate tyres. So Jason on provisional pole at the moment. And the first driver over the line, apparently is going to be Smithy, because Wace's lap time has been invalidated, so 5th or lower is where he'll end up. Smithy continuing on though. 32.3 in sector 1, which is the quickest we've seen so far. Now this is the part of the race where he needs to keep his car within the limits. He gets a bit of understeer there. It'll compromise his exit speed. And it's his personal best in sector 2, not the quickest we've seen. But he's in the frame for pole here, is Smithy, that's for sure. The spray's still being kicked up. he comes towards the bus stop chicane now. Smithy heading through the bus stop chicane. Oh, he slid as he got through the apex there. That'll cost him some time. And he puts his AlphaTauri only third at the moment. So he will not be starting on pole. Jason's not going to be posting a fast lap. Joe is on a better lap than before. Alex's lap has been invalidated. Baz has just missed the checker flag there, so he won't be setting a time. And Joe is right behind Storm here. Storm has yet to get a lap on the board. While Joe is in 10th place with his 1 minute 56.3 as the Alpine runs wide there, and Joe is surely going to get past him here as the pair go side by side over the line. Joe goes up to 9th place with that lap. And Storm only managing 16th. I think he exceeded track limits actually. So it's Jason who takes pole position by less than 0.03 of a second here at Spa. So Matthias doing very well to get his hat on the front row. You could say he was the man of qualifying. Smithy and Oles were on row 2, followed by Wace and Fuzzy Bear in a disappointing 6th position. TJW and Wilkins next up on the 4th row. Joa and Jamie rounding out the top 10. Then it's Infamous and Alex Lilliart on row 6. Jess and Aidan on row 7. Then it's Indecisive Maskey and Storm on row 8. Stephen, Buzzer and Demon did not set a lap time, so they will be starting at the back. That was qualifying. We now go on to the race, and it's pretty much anyone's game. I don't know whether it's going to be wet or dry. If you are involved in the race, do make sure I am informed of that. But if it's going to be a dry race, it's going to be a mixture of drivers starting on different compounds to each other, so we'll find out in a moment who is starting on what. And it looks to be a dry race here at Spa. Can Jason get back to winning form? He's already won a race this season in Australia. So far this season it's been Jason who's won 1, Wilkins has won 2, and Fuzzy Bear has won 2. So 3 different race winners from 5 rounds in the prospect here of One Hub Racing. This will be a 22 lap race. We expect this one to be a lot quicker than the one we had in Singapore. The one in Singapore lasted 59.5 minutes by the time the race winner had crossed over the line. In terms of who is on the hot list so far, I think I have to say Matthias has done a splendid job in the Haas. In terms of who is on the cold list, that's a really interesting question. I mean, to be honest, Mackie spun out at La Source and crashed into the barrier, and Wilkins isn't as high up as we all thought it would be, given where he's been in the standings. And Fuzzy Bear has had a bit of an off day so far, so there's plenty of candidates for the cold list at the moment, but I'll definitely put Matthias in the hot list there. So the drivers go off onto their formation lap. Let's see who is starting on what compound. So Infamous, Aidan, Mackie, Stephen and Demon are on mediums. The rest are all on softs. Now remember, every driver's got to pit at least twice in this race. In terms of what compounds they can do their 2-stop strategies on, or 3, if that's what they want to do, that's entirely their choice, but they must pit at least twice. And whilst we're waiting for this race to get on the way, just another mention of our sponsors of Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing the LNR Drive stand to the Driver of the Season award. 3M Sim Racing, who sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver of the most combined poles and fastest laps. And the partners include Investment Team, who support the championship prizes, and ERT, who support the Going Gets Tough award. In terms of last week's results, it was a Ferrari 1-2 with Fossibert leading Jason home, albeit retrospectively because Jason picked up a time penalty for track limits. Ols made it to the podium for the first time. Alex Elliott came home fourth, and it was Buzzer, Infamous Demon, Jess, TJW rounding out the finishes. We only had, I think it was 9 finishes in the end. It may well have been 10. No, it was definitely 9. So we had 9 finishes last week. We've got 19 starters today, so let's hope we do get a decent number of drivers making it to the end. And just another mention of the championship situation. Fossibert has a 19-point lead over Jason, which is nearly a full round, a full maximum score. The maximum a single driver can score in one hub racing is 21, which is the 24 the race win and 1 for the fastest lap out of all those in the top 10. And there's also a point for the fastest lap for someone who finishes outside the top 10. So there's plenty to look out for in this race. Jason on pole, it's Matthias ahead of Smithy, Ols and Weiss in 3rd, 4th and 5th. Fossibert will be one to look out for in particular in the second of the Ferraris as he looks to make his way through the field, but I am sure he will be thinking more about the championship as we enter the second half of this season. 5 races to go then, the first one being at Spa. Who will lead into La Source? Will it be Jason? Will it be Matthias? Will it be Smithy? Or could Ols get in on the act here? So the drivers are in position then for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix in the Prospect here. The 5 red lights appear in front of the drivers. It's lights out, and away we go. Jason got a good launch, but we're looking at Smithy in the AlphaTauri. He's got off the line very, very well. He's down the inside of Matthias already as they go into turn 1. There's Weiss as well. Weiss on the inside of the AlphaTauri as they go through La Source now. So Jason stays in the lead, but he's going side by side with the Mercedes. Ferrari versus Mercedes. They go through Eau Rouge for the first time. Jason in front, just gets in front there of Weiss as they come up through Radion. So Jason leads, head of Weiss, head of Smithy, and Matthias down to 4th place. Then TJW up to 5th. Ols down to 6th. Fossibert down to 7th place. Wilkins is still in 8th position, ahead of Joa and Jamie, who round out your top 10 so far. Look at this, plenty of dicing going along at the moment, as Fossibert dives to the inside of Ols as they go through Lake On. Now Fossibert looks to make a move round the outside of TJW through Malmedy. He can't quite make the move there, but can he make a move down the next corner of Bruxelles? Not quite so. Looks like Stom has gone for a spin in the Alpine, but has continued. So all 19 drivers still in the race so far. So Jason got the start he needed there. Very, very good start. He went side by side with Weiss as they got through Eau Rouge, but Jason had the upper hand and the high ground to remain in front. So Alex Elliott moving ahead of Jamie into 10th position. As Weiss looks to remain within a second of the Ferrari. I'm just looking at those clouds there. Could rain be on the way for the drivers on the postcard? Weiss hasn't got anything to lose here. He's not really in the championship fight, but he is in 5th position. And he wants to get a good haul of points to give himself some form of hope in the championship. Jason needs every point he can to stay in the hunt with his teammate. As Fossibert moves in front of TJW, or so he thought. Oh, contact made between the two drivers. Fossibert was forced out wide. There was contact between the two. And I wonder if Fossibert got damage and all that. It doesn't say that he has got damage at the moment. Oh, I think he has actually, yeah. I think he's come together with TJW, so he's picked up some form of damage. 2 drivers in the pits already, Stephen and Storm, who are without front wings at the moment. Matthias picking up the first penalty of the race for track limits as we watch Weiss get into the slipstream of the Ferrari of Jason. Round the outside he goes as they go through Lake On, and I think Weiss is going to take the lead, and Aiden's out of the race, and Jason spun in the Ferrari. Jason spun, almost rejoins into the path of the other drivers. The virtual safety car has been deployed, but Aiden's out of the race as he's crossed out on the exit of Eau Rouge. So Jason down to 4th place. That's a really costly error there, whilst he was defending from the Mercedes of Weiss. He's fallen down a few positions as a result of that. Couldn't quite see Aiden's car in time, but it's another race without points for him. And another driver who's got a time penalty is Joa. It's a track limits penalty which can only be applied at the end of the race. So Waze is your new race leader, ahead of Smithy in second place. Matthias back up to third place, as the virtual safety car has ended now. So we should see Waze plough a margin on Smithy. There's no DRS yet until the third lap. So there's Jason getting back in front of Matthias there. Now, has Matthias got damage to his front wing? Because he's let the Ferrari go quite easily. I'm not seeing on the TAS that he has got damage, so it could well be just him playing it safe and allowing Jason to go back through. So we begin lap 3 then. Matthias behind Jason. And looks like Joe is in the pits for Mercedes. And there's a new front wing fitted on. And there is Matthias behind Jason. He's got the DRS, but he's not going to be anywhere near close enough to have a go on him into Les Comps. And Wilkins passing Ols for 7th position. So there's a textbook manoeuvre there from Wilkins. He needs a good result here to stay in the hunt. He's behind the championship leader, Fozibert, on the road, and someone else has gone off. It's Stephen. So the second Williams is out of the race. He's done exactly the same thing as what his teammates done. Is that going to be enough for the safety car, I wonder? This could change the complexion of the race, if so. So that's the second driver gone from this race. Stephen, who served a qualifying ban for picking up 4 penalty points for the season so far. Remember, it's 4 for a qualifying ban, 6 for a race ban, and 8 for a season disqualification, which is not what any of the drivers want. So Waze continuing to lead. Smithy, who's chasing for a victory at the moment. Now Smithy, who's currently sitting in 10th place in the Drivers' Championship with 18 points. It's just posting the new fastest lap. Well, so he thought, because Wilkins got that back now. So Wilkins has the point for the fastest lap out of those inside the top 10. So Smithy keeps his car just about pointing the right way there. It almost looked like it was about to lose it, but gathered it all up. Wade's going defensive here. Is Smithy going to go for the move here? Around the outside he goes. Has he done it? Wheel to wheel, but Wade has it covered. Nice clean racing between these two. Smithy struggled to get the car turned in there. Lilliard moving in front of Ols for 8th place. So the McLaren heading further down the order. And Alex receiving a time penalty now for track limits. And Smithy's now been penalised as well for track limits. So drivers starting to receive too many warnings at the moment for track limits. You can get them anywhere on this game. It's not like in real life Formula 1 where you only get them in certain parts of the racetrack. So Smithy, 7 tenths behind Wace. He'll have the DRS on the start-finish straight. DRS open. And Smithy is going to be behind Wace as they go down towards Eau Rouge. Wilkins gets in front of TJW for 6th place. We'll come to that battle in a moment because we want to see how Smithy gets on. Getting out Shea there. This is a much better chance now of the AlphaTauri getting in front of the Mercedes here. And Wace doesn't fight it. So Smithy takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Jason under pressure from Matthias. As Fozibert is in 5th place ahead of TJW and Wilkins. Jess is in the pits for Alpine. She's gone out onto a set of mediums, and that's her teammate storming the wall there. He's ripped off the DRS polystyrene board, and his race has just gone from bad to worse. And I just wonder if he's picked up damage. It doesn't look as though he has done, so he's okay to continue. For Smithy in the lead now on the road. Now those who have started on the softs will be thinking when they are going to be pitting. Got to pit twice in this race, remember, so I can see some of them decide to go onto a soft, medium strategy. Maybe some will do like soft, medium, softs, or those start on the mediums will just do medium, soft. So Smithy going through the bus stop chicane. And Wace comes into the pits for Mercedes, as does Jason. Now, where are we going to be seeing these two come out? So Jason pits in now. Wace goes ahead of him. So Wace rejoins in 9th position. Not far behind Infamous at the moment, who's just going through Eau Rouge. So Wace looking very good at the moment. TJW looks to get in front of Fozzie Bear here. Down the inside he goes into Les Combes. Fozzie Bear leaves him space, so he has to let the Aston Martin go. There's Jason behind Mackie. Jason will move in front, no problem. Jason fighting back from his earlier error. As he heads through Bruxelles. And further ahead, we just want to see Fozzie Bear, who's in the fight with TJW and Wilkins right now. I imagine we'll be seeing more of these guys heading into the pits at the end of this lap. And Fozzie Bear is 8/10 of a second now. I wonder if he will decide to pit in, but it's just a matter of whether TJW will decide to pit in before him. Fozzie Bear will want to try and complete some form of overcut. And Smithy in the pits now for AlphaTauri. Will any of these decide to do the same? TJW is going to do so. Fozzie Bear likewise. So Smithy into the pits for AlphaTauri. He's going on to a set of the medium compound, and he's out on his way. Now, where is Wace? He's just going down the pit straight. He's going through La Source now. And has he got in front of Smithy? Yes, he has. So Smithy, lighting the rear tyres off on the pit exit, has just been undercut by Wace, who's effectively now in the race lead. So Jason's 7th at the moment, is Mackie holding up TJW, who's just come out of the pits. He's going to have DRS behind the Red Bull, and he's going to go through, and Baz is out of the race. So Baz has crashed at Eau Rouge, and his race has come to a premature end, so no points for him today. Now Buzzer finished 12th in last season's race in the Prospect here in Belgium, but he's not going to be finishing at all this time around. It doesn't look as though we are going to be seeing the safety car, so Matthias would have been hoping there was going to be a safety car, but it's not to be. Now Wilkins and Alex have not pitted yet for Alfa Romeo, so one of them is going to have to stay out for another lap, unless they want to be double stacking, which is not the ideal scenario. So here's Matthias. So he comes through the bus stop chicane, and he's coming in at the end of this lap, which is no surprise. Wace moves in front of Infamous into 4th place on the road. It looks like someone's gone off in Sector 3, and it's Infamous. He's gone off at Blanchimont. Very strange place to be spinning off at. It's kept going though. And Wilkins in the pits as well, so that allows Alex to at least lead a lap whilst Waze is catching up to him. Matthias will get out in front of Wilkins. Can he get in front of Jason here? I don't think he can, because Jason's up to full speed and Matthias is not, and Jason's through. But can Matthias get the DRS on the Kemmel Straight? He will get it, but is he going to be close enough to have a go on Jason? Don't think he's going to do so on this occasion. TJW passing Wilkins for 7th place. And here's Ols right behind Mackie as they come towards Les Combes. Ols down the inside of the Red Bull. Does he get through though? No contact made. There was a slight contact on the exit there, but that was a little bit accidental, has to be said, between the two drivers. It's fine racing. And Jason now picks up a penalty for track limits. So that adds another tail to the another twist to the tail, I should say, as Alex continues to head the field. Now, what strategy is he thinking about doing? He must surely be thinking about possibly do the mediums. We'll find out later on. Either way, Jamie's just gone for a spin at Pouan. Has continued in 13th place behind Demon. So Wace, who's on the soft compound tyres, is back in the lead now, but it won't be too long before he's in the pits again. So Alex in the pits from the lead. He should rejoin, I would say, round about where the Mackie-Ols battle is. And someone's gone off in sector 3. It's Ols in the McLaren. So both McLarens have had a shocker of a lap. And Smithy's gone! Smithy's crashed out in the AlphaTauri! So both of the AlphaTauri's out, and we've got a safety car! Smithy, who looked in contention for the race victory today, is not going to make it to the checkered flag. He's out. He's another victim at the top of Radion. So both Williams drivers out, both AlphaTauri drivers out. The safety car's been deployed. This could be good news actually for Waze, because he's now been on the soft compounds twice. Will he go on to the mediums? I think he will do. I think mediums is the only option for him, because if he goes onto the hards, he's not going to have the tyre advantage that he needs on the restart. A really costly error there for Smithy. His race has come to a premature close. Now what is Waze going to do here? I think he's going to have to come into the pits. I'd imagine we're going to be behind the safety car for a couple of laps. So yeah, Waze, as I had predicted, is entering the pits now. Jason's doing the same. He'll probably go into a set of mediums. Matthias stays out there though, in the Haas. And Alex Lilliot will be... Wace will rejoin ahead of Alex Lilliot. So Alex will need to remain behind the Mercedes. There's Wilkins also in the pits. I wonder if Alfa Romeo had to double stack their drivers, which would have cost Wilkins some time. And he's rejoined in 7th position now. Not what he needed. So once everyone's pitted, we'll have a look to see who has stopped, or how many times each driver has stopped. And then we can work out who needs to be pitted in again before this race is over. Either way, Matthias in the lead with Wace second. And it's Alex, Jason, Ols, TJW, Wilkins, Mackie, Fozzie Bear in 9th and Jamie in the top 10 for McLaren. So those who have stopped, well, everyone has, apart from those who have retired, a couple of them. Matthias needs to pit again, as does Alex, as does Ols, Mackie, and Demon. It's just the 5 drivers. So if you have just joined us, we do welcome you. In case you're wondering why we're under safety car conditions, because Smithy crashed out at the top of Radion, which is enough to deploy the safety car as it is. The driver who has the fastest up at the race at the moment is Wace in the Mercedes, which would be another championship point going to him. The fastest up out of all those outside the top 10 is Joa. It would be Smithy, but he's out of the race now. So we're down to 15 runners. So Matthias will be thinking about the restart here. He's only pitted once in this race, so he's got to pit again before this race is over. I think he's going to try and take it as long as he can before he does need to come in. So I think we're probably expecting around lap 17 or 18. Mackie's in the pits for Red Bull. He knows he needs to pit again, so he thought, get it done and out of the way. Demon also in for Aston Martin. I think Mackie had to get his front wing replaced as well. That's why he was in the box longer than the Aston Martin. So Matthias out in front. There are only, at the moment, 4 drivers with time penalties. They are Matthias, Alex, Jason and Joa. So 4 rounds to go in the championship after this one. We go to Silverstone, Red Bull Ring, Austin, and the final round will be held at Imola. Don't forget, after this race there is the other tiers, beginning with the points tier, and then the podium tier, followed by Precision, and then the top tier being Pinnacle. You can watch them either on the One Hub Racing YouTube channel or on the Twitch. And the safety car is going to be coming in this lap, so we should be in for an 11-lap shootout to the finish. And Matthias, who's been on the mediums for about 3 laps, but albeit a couple of those would have been on the safety car conditions anyway. He can take these tyres as long as he can. So Matthias gets ready to go as the safety car is about to pull into the pit lane, and we should get this race back underway now. Matthias has a really poor exit coming out of the bus stop chicane. We're underway now though. It's absolutely swamped by the Mercedes of Wace and the Alfa Romeo of Alex Elliott, but he's going to go to the inside, gets his elbows out on the Mercedes. Did he run in wide? Maybe too much. I don't know, but either way, that's allowed Alex to move into the lead in the Alfa Romeo. So we've had a change of lead as Alex moves up from 3rd into P1. And we can see Jason right behind the Mercedes, gets a wheel onto the grass. Now as they come towards, they come. Waste fancies to go, can't quite do it there. Wilkins gets in front of the Aston Martin. Oh, he thought he did. Oh, he's got tapped. And has he taken out Fossibert? He got a tap from behind by Fossibert. And so Fossibert's front wing's damaged, surely. It has. That's a twist in the title race, as Fossibert's front wing has been damaged after Wilkins had gone for a spin whilst it was tussling with TJW. Oh, and someone else has spun. That's Matthias coming out of Pouan. He stays out of everyone's way. They just caught the curb as they were going through that left-hander. Was very lucky not to collect another driver. The drama really is kicking in now here at Spa. For Alex in the lead right now. But he's got one more stop to make, which will be coming soon, I would think. He needs to pull out that 1 second margin on Waste, which he's done so. And Jason diving to the inside of Waste. And does he get through? He does so. Waste nearly nudged him wide there, which would have been a little bit naughty of him to do so. And so Waste coming back on the inside. The two bang wheels there. They need to leave each other room. Jason goes off the track at La Source. There's no way he'll gain that position by running wide like that. And he needs to give the place back. But they go side by side into Eau Rouge. Someone needs to give way. They're not both either doing it. Waste spins. And that's him going to the barrier and he's out of the race. So Waste in the Mercedes is out of the reckoning for the race victory. He will not be very happy with Jason after that. That will be investigated by the stewards for sure, because Jason went all four wheels off the track at La Source, gained a lasting advantage, and he didn't quite leave Waste enough room. Fossibert in the pits for a new front wing. It's come to his saviour actually, because the safety car has come back out. But Waste will be absolutely furious with Jason's manoeuvres there. They made contact initially as they were approaching La Source. Jason went off the track, rejoined, side by side. Neither of them yielded into Eau Rouge, and Waste ended up being the passenger in the end into the scene of an accident. So Waste's race is over, and Alex in the Alfa Romeo leads, albeit on the road. He's got a 3 second time penalty to his name. Jason has the same. TJW, who I believe has only pitted, he's already pitted twice in this race, so TJW has got a chance of going for the victory here now, with Ols and Jamie not too far behind either. And Alex coming into the pits there. You see he touched the wall as he was going in. So this has come at a fairly decent time for Alex. It will stay within touch with the field. Who else is coming in? TJW coming in for softs. Owls is in as well. Yera in likewise. Jason gets another track limits penalty though. Now remember, he's already lost a victory this season in Singapore last week because of a 9 second time penalty. Well, this is not going to help him now, not by any stretch. So Alex rejoins behind the Red Bull of Mackie in 7th position. TJW rejoins in 8th. I imagine Fossibert will be coming in for a set of the soft compound, unless he wants to remain out there. He's damaged his front wing again though, look. So Fossibert coming in. So he's got a chance of getting back into this now. Oh, looks like the field has stopped for a moment there, but no, it was just a safe car backing the field up. So Fossibert rejoins the race in 14th and last, but at least he's still in the run-in. He'll catch up to the back of the field. So 8 laps to go at the end of this one. Jason in the lead with Jamie second, Infamous in third. Matthias in 4th, but he's only pitted once, so he's got to come in for one last stop. I don't know if he is aware of the rule. He should be aware of it. So Matthias behind the safety car now. Well, he's behind Infamous. He's in play for a podium now. So we're just waiting for Fossibed to catch up to the field. The safety car remains out there for one more lap. And we'll see the field go into battle once more as Matthias comes into the pit for Haas. Clearly he wants to get that tyre change over and done with. The only problem is that he's going to rejoin at the back of the field. So Matthias rejoins in 14th place behind Fossibed now. As the field coming to Lecom, who is left to make a one stop. I think everyone's stopped now twice, so this is going to be a mad dash to the finish. But watch out for those who have just gone onto the soft compounds. They're going to be on fresher tyres than the leaders. This could end up getting very, very interesting. In terms of who is being hot and cold today, in terms of the list, it's a tough one to choose. I mean, Matthias he did a good job until he left it too late, really, to come into the pits for softs. Jason's done a fairly good job, although he is under investigation for that contact with Waste, I would imagine. Although Infamous has done very well to get up to 3rd place in the Red Bull, so I'd be tempted to put him on the hot list for today so far, and on the cold list I'd probably say Aiden, because he's not had a good couple of races at the moment and he's been struggling to get any kind of consistency going. So the safety car is going to be coming in at the end of this lap. So there's Jason back in the pack up, allowing the safety car to pull away. No one can overtake the Ferrari until the start-finish line. So the safety car is in the pit lane now. When does Jason decide to go here? But he's not gone yet. Oh, and Jamie's touched him. I think he might get away with that. But we're back on the way now on lap 16. You can see there's a move from the Alfa Romeo of Alex, who goes to the inside of Mackie into turn 1, and that's him through. And I think TJ is going to get through as well. No, he doesn't. He spins. I think he just avoids the wall, but that's him falling down the order there. So Jason's still in front. Wilkins up to 3rd place now in the Alfa Romeo. He's also made a move. Joey gets a penalty for track limits, whilst he's trying to make a move on Oles for 7th place. So he goes to the outside. And McLaren keeps his nose in there. He still tries to keep his nose in there, but has to accept defeat on this occasion. there's Wilkins in third place as he looks to pull away from Infamous and start closing in on Jamie, who's within range of Jason, who has a penalty of 6 seconds. Jamie nearly losing it out of Fanya. So Jamie not too far off the race lead right now, as Alex looks to get in front of Infamous coming out of Blanchimont. Six laps to go. And we can see a battle here between Joa, Ols and Mackie going over the line in the battle for over 6th place. Mackie wants to get back through here, but can't quite do so. So Ols is passed. Now they need to make sure they get through here nicely here and fairly. We've already had one accident here. We've had a load of accidents in this race through Eau Rouge and Radion, whether it's cars going side by side or just a car going off by itself. And look at this! Oh, it's an accident for Fozzybet! Huge, huge accident! Mackie didn't quite see him in time, sent him into the wall, and Fozzybet, the championship leader, is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. He will be furious with Indecisive Mackie for not leaving him enough space. We've had a third safety car. That is a nasty one there for Fozzybet. That would have come to him as a shock. And it's bad news for his teammate as well, because the field's going to be bunched up back together, and Jason has that penalty coming his way. Now, if I was Jason, I'd maybe consider coming in to get a set of softs on. And there's Mackie as well, who has got damage to his front wing, unsurprisingly. But I'm sure the stewards will be having words with him after that, because that was not really on that. He should have definitely given Fozzybet more space. But that is Fozzybet's first retirement of the season after that. And that's a major dent to his championship hopes. And this gives a chance to the likes of Jason, Wilkins and Alex to get themselves back in championship contention. Jason decides to stay out there. Jamie likewise. Joss feels that he does not need to be pitting. Ols, I think, will stay out there, unless he thinks otherwise. The Alpines are currently 8th and 9th, just doing very well, actually, to keep herself out of trouble throughout all this, so she's done a fairly good job in this one. There's Matthias in 10th, TJW, and there's Demon going into the pits for a set of softs. Mackie following in. There's no doubt that a new front wing's going to go on to Mackie's car. I mean, he was very lucky he only took out Fozzybet and not another driver. But there's no question that the stewards are going to have a look at that accident, because that was very, very nasty. So Jason, I think Demon's in the pits for a new front wing as well, so he's had a lot longer in the pits than Mackie has done. So TJW in 11th place. That was very, very, very dramatic there for Fozzybet to get caught up in that. It should not have happened. I mean, we was dicing with Joa, Ols and Mackie over the position. But yeah, I think Fozzybet was definitely warranted some space. He was within a car's length alongside. I would think the safety car will stay out there for one more lap, but we'll see. It's just going through sector 2 now. The lights are still on. Yeah, I think it will stay out there, I think, for one more lap. And there are 5 drivers with penalties. TJW is one of them. Matthias, Joe, Alex is on 3 seconds, and Jason's on 6. So Jason's going to have a lot of work to do. The safety car is staying out there for another lap, so it's expected to have it. We are expected to have a 3-lap shootout. Now the drivers with the fastest lap in the top 10 so far. It's Wilkins who has it. And those outside the top 10, it's TJW that has it. 13 still running in this Grand Prix. So Jason looking to go for his second victory of the season. Jamie going for his first win of the season. Now Jamie, I'm just trying to remember his last victory in One Hub Racing. He has won before. In terms of when that victory came, I'm not too sure about, but this will be his second victory in this particular league if he was to achieve it. Wilkins has already won twice this season. He won at Paul Ricard. And he also won in round 4 of the round 4 was Paul Ricard, round 3 was Hungary, one of which he dominated him. So the safety car is coming in this lap. This is going to make for a really interesting finale to this Grand Prix now. Jason on old mediums, Jamie on old mediums, Wilkins on old mediums, Alex on fresher mediums, Infamous on old mediums. I mean, to be honest, it's a fair fight now between here and the Czechoslovakia. Watch out for Mackie and Demon, because they are on fresher, soft compound tyres. They're on fresher tyres than the rest of the field, it has to be said. But Jason is thinking about going when he thinks the time is right to do so. This is going to see him into the lead. Well, he is in the lead. Is this going to see him pull out a margin here? It is doubtful he will win the race unless something dramatic happens behind him. Here we go then. And Jason gets a nice restart on the rest of the field. Just what he needed. As we watch Wilkins go into combat with Jamie over second place. He'll need to watch out for his teammate though, as Alex will be looking to make amends and get in front there. There's Infamous going off track there, over the bumps, over the curves. Stays in front of Ols for now. And now we can see the battle for second place as Wilkins gets past Jamie. And there's Ols as well behind Infamous there. So Infamous is about to lose 5th place, it seems, to the McLaren. And Alex not able to get in front of Jamie. So Wilkins in second place now, which will become the victory as it stands once Jason's penalty has been applied. We don't seem to have any collisions so far on the restart, which is good news. So Jason through Paul, heading towards Fania. Now through Stavolo. And 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 now through Stavolo The lead he's got now is 2.9 seconds, so he's pulling out all the stops here is Jason. Has he got enough time to make up the 6-second margin? Alex getting in front of Jamie as they go through Blanchimont, so Alex up to third place in the Alfa Romeo, ahead of two McLarens dicing over each other. Jamie lets his teammate go through. No DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. Jason posts a new fastest lap of the race. We're just watching further behind. There's Jess and TJW fighting over 8th position as they cross over the line. TJW doesn't quite go for it into La Source. Jess defending for all she can. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart, so it will come in on the final lap. And there we go, look, there's Jess about to lose a position to TJW. So the Aston Martin should be able to get through, which it does so, Jess down to 9th. The gap now between Jason and Wilkins is 3.6 seconds. Just 2.5 seconds more, and the victory will be going to the Ferrari driver. And Matthias gets another penalty for track limits. So he could be falling out of the points, actually. Out of the top 12 as it stands. As Joa fighting with Infamous over 6th place. And now as they go towards Stavelo once more. Joa gets on the curb, makes contact with the Red Bull. He's been penalised for track limits. I think that's his 3rd penalty of the race as well, it is. And he's run out of ERS. Now, Jamie has dropped back from his teammate. Is he struggling at the moment on the mediums? DRS enabled. We're now on the final lap of this race. Joa gets past Infamous for 6th position at last, but he's got that penalty hanging over him. TJW behind. Matthias gets in front of Jess on the road. How will the drivers get through Eau Rouge for the last time? Jamie gets through without incident. And now Joa is going to be under pressure here from Infamous, who's going to have DRS. And Infamous, I think, is going to get back through here. Oh, Joa move across them a bit too late there. Got away with it. And now TJW gets in on the act. Is this him going through? No! Contact! Contact between the two. The Mercedes rejoins ahead, but the stewards will be having a look at that. Jess under threat from Matthias again, but Jess remains in front for now, and Matthias trying to get back through. Can't quite do it. Contact made again, but Jess stays in front this time. So yet another collision on this final lap. At the moment, Jason's gap over Wilkins is 4.2 seconds, 4.3 seconds. Jason's not going to do it. I don't think he's got enough time now to do it unless Wilkins makes a mistake in the last 3 or 4 turns. And Matthias has gone round in the Haas. He's gone off into the wall. That's him out of contention for points, surely. But here's Jason. He's about to go through the bus stop chicane. Can he find any more time in the remaining corners? Gets on the power early enough. He takes the checkered flag. But Wilkins is surely going to take the victory. Wilkins wins the Belgian Grand Prix for Alfa Romeo. Ols finishes 2nd. Jason down to 3rd with the time penalties applied. There's Jamie, Alex, Infamous, Joa, Mackie, TJW, Demon, Storm. It looks like Jess has crashed out. She's had a coming together with someone. So Jess is going to fall out of the points after all that. So Matthias is going to be 12th in the end. The driver with the fastest lap of the race. That was Jason in the top 10. Inside the top 10, outside the top 10 was Matthias. So he gets a point for that. But it's Josh Wilkins who wins for the 3rd time this season. And what a result it was. And very much needed for him for his championship cause. So that result there for Wilkins moves him on to 79 points. Jason with his third place, plus the fastest lap. That should net him 15, as far as I know. So that moves him on to 80 points. Fozzie Bear remains on 84. The championship is pretty much hotting up now. So Josh Wilkins wins ahead of Ols in second place. Jason in third and with the point for the fastest lap. Jamie fourth, good result for him. Alex fifth. Infamous, a brilliant result for him in sixth. Demon seventh. Joe at 8. TJW ninth. And Mackie in the top 10. And will most certainly be under investigation for that collision with Fozzie Bear on the exit of Radion. Storm Kings was 11th. Matthias 12th. Jess classified 13th. But there could be another investigation for that last lap incident involving her and whoever it was that came together with her. Fozzie Bear retired. Wace also out. Smithy, Buzzer, Stephen and Aidan also didn't make it to the checkered flag. The gap at the top is down to 4 points now between Fozzie Bear in the lead, Jason in second, and Wilkins with 20 points for finishing in third place moves on to 79. So just 5 points separating the top 3 in the championship. Now, it's time for 2 driver of the days because it's me that's just doing it. So driver of the day, I'm going to give it to Infamous. I think Infamous kept his car clean throughout, and I think he did a fairly good job. And he would be very much on my hot list for keeping his car clean today and getting a better result than expected. The other driver of the day, I think I'm going to give that to... Should I give it to Ols or should I give it to Wilkins? It's a very tough one between the two. I'm going to give it to... Let's give it to Ols, because he was absolutely brilliant again today to carry on with the form from Singapore to finish on the podium. So he goes in. So the questions for the pair of them, we'll start off with Infamous. That was a better race for you than expected. Did you really think, after all the drama, you would finish as high as you did? That's my question for Infamous. And for Ols, for finishing second, so much dicing going on, particularly with the Mercedes of Joa, the Ferrari of Fozzie Bear, and the Red Bull of Mackie. It was very much nip and tuck, but that was very close, very marginal to all of that being ending tears and you being ending out of the race rather than you finishing. But for you to finish in second was remarkable, wasn't it? That was quite a complex question I just made up there, but that's my question for Ols anyway. For those who've just chucking it down for the post-race interviews for next time out. In terms of the hot and cold list, I've just mentioned Infamous, so he's very much on the hot list. The cold list, for me, it's Mackie. I think that collision with Fozzie Bear was a very, very bad one, and most certainly the worst incident of the season so far. So Mackie goes on the cold list for me of that avoidable collision. So that's something I think the stewards will need to deal with after. Thank you for joining us. Another thank you and a huge mention to our sponsors of Vespa Team and the other sponsors and partners in that. So the sponsors of Next Level Racing and 3M Sim Racing, along with the partners of Vespa Team and ERT, who support the championship prizes and the Go and Get Stuff award. As it's the same with the sponsors who support the Direct Drive Stand 2, our Driver of the Season award, and the Sim Racing gloves from 3M Sim Racing for the driver of the most combined poles and fastest laps. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Hope you enjoyed that. We can't wait to do it all over again next week. Now there's the points, podium, precision and pinnacle tiers still to come tonight, so make sure you do tune in to watch them either on YouTube or Twitch. Do make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you haven't already done so, and we look forward to doing it again at Silverstone next week, same time, 6 PM British Summer Time on Friday the 15th of October. I'm Tom Cans, and I'll speak to you again soon when One Hub Racing returns.